Alright, day 2. Today we're going to be talking about frequency tables. So if you look, I gave you a couple different examples of frequency tables. I mean, all it really is, like if you look at this one right here, you have people that like tacos versus burgers. You tally it up, and then you talk about their frequency. So 7 people like tacos and 9 people like burgers. Here was talking about what they wanted to do. This is talking about shoe sizes. So you could really use this with any type of data you want. The actual definition of a frequency table is a table that groups a set of data values into intervals and shows the frequency for each interval. Now, frequency just means how many times did that thing occur. Whether it be a number, whether it be how many people, whatever it is, it's how many times does it occur. Okay, so here we are going to actually make a frequency table. So it says in baseball, the numbers of home runs by the batters in a local home run derby are listed below. What is a frequency table that represents the data? So these are home runs. The first thing you have to do is put your numbers in order. Okay, so if we put these numbers in order, you could go through and list them. You would have 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 7, 7, 9, 10, 12, 12, 14, 15, and 17. Okay, so now that I have my numbers in order, so we can look at these. And we can talk about, well, what type of intervals do we want to use? Well, the numbers will only go to 17, so we could start, and maybe let's do intervals of 2. Okay, so what that means is you make your list. So we have our interval, and then you have your frequency. Again, which means how many times does it occur. Okay, so if we want to talk about our interval, if we do intervals of 2, we got to count, and you always start with 0. So 0, 1, that's 2. 0 and 1 makes 2 different numbers. Okay, and then you'd have 2, 3, because that's 2 numbers. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you can see, I mean, this is a lot of intervals, correct? So we don't want to do this small of intervals. So we actually are going to not use this. So if we could do something a little bit bigger than 2, okay, so we want to, let's maybe try intervals of 5. Okay, so when you count, you can say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you count on your hand, that's 5 numbers. So 0 to 4 is 5 numbers. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 5 to 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 10 to 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So 15 to 19. And then the biggest number we have is 17, so I don't need to go over 19. Okay, and then I look at my intervals. So from 0 to 4, how many numbers or how many home runs were hit between 0 and 4? So if we look, we have a 2, we have a 3, and we have a 4. So that makes 3. So the frequency would be 3. You can kind of make this look a little bit nicer. Okay, from 5 to 9. Well, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, or 5 different home runs from 5 to 9. So we have 5 is our frequency. And then 10 to 14. So 10, 12, 12, 14. So it's 4 numbers between 10 and 14. And then 15 to 19. There's only 2 numbers between 15 and 19. Okay, so that is a frequency table. Now that's a pretty good range. I mean, we don't want so many intervals that it really doesn't mean anything. You don't want not enough intervals where it doesn't mean anything. We will always tell you what interval to use, so you're going to have to be able to count different ones. So let's try this same problem again. So let me erase all of this work. And we're going to do intervals of 10 this time instead of 5. So if I do an interval of 10, well, I shouldn't have erased that, but that's okay. Interval, rewrite my frequency over here. So if we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 0 to 9. Again, I always count on my fingers when I count the intervals. It helps because a lot of times we forget that 0. So 0 to 9 is actually 10 numbers. And between 0 and 9, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. So the frequency would be 8. And then you go 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 10 to 19, which is the rest of the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now if you look, there's only 2 intervals. That really doesn't tell us a whole lot with data. That's not enough intervals. So you try to find something kind of in the middle. Not too many, not too few. So again, we will tell you which interval to use. Okay, let's look at another one. Alright, making a frequency table again. So the data below are the numbers of hours per week a group of students spent watching television. We are not going to create a histogram today. We'll learn that tomorrow. We're going to do a frequency table today. So the first thing again that we need to do is put our numbers in order. So if we do that, we would have 0, 1, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 14, and 22. Okay, so now if we look at those numbers, we're going all the way to 22. Well, we learned last time that going by 2s really isn't probably enough. But what we could try is maybe going by 4s. Okay, so let's try to count out intervals by 4s. So here's my interval, and then we have our frequency. Sometimes I just use FREQ for frequency. Okay, so my interval, if I go to 4, remember we count on our fingers, so we always start with 0. 0, 1, 2, 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3 is 4 numbers. 4, 5, 6, 7. So 4 to 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. So 8 to 11. 12, 13, 14, 15. So 12 to 15. 16, 17, 18, 19. So 16 to 19. And then 20, 21, 22, 23. So 20 to 23, and that covers all of our numbers because our smallest is 0, our biggest is 22. So now if you do your frequencies in that range, so 0 to 3, there was 3. 4 to 7, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8 to 11, there was 1, 2, 3. 12 to 15, there was 1, 2, 3. 16 to 19 actually didn't have any, so 0. And 20 to 23 had 1. So that wasn't really too many intervals. It wasn't really too few. Let's try one more set of intervals. So this was, remember, by 4s. So let's do one more example, and let's change our intervals to 6s. Let's see if we can count by 6s just to really get a couple good practices with how to count intervals. Okay, so remember, we start at 0, count on our hands. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 0 to 5 is 6 numbers. And then you start with 6, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then you start with 12, so 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And then 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So that covers all of our numbers. From 0 to 5, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From 6 to 11, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From 12 to 17, you had 1, 2, 3. And from 18 to 23, you had 1. Okay, so all different types of intervals, anywhere from 2s, you can go by 2s, you can go by 3s, 4s, 5s, you can go by 10s, 15s, 20s. If you use really big numbers, you could even go by hundreds. It just kind of depends on what type of data you're working with and what kind of numbers you have. And that is it.